Now, 1 year on from the devastating Black Summer bushfires, and the rebuilding process, as you know, is ongoing. Thousands of victims remain living in caravans and the like, trying to piece their lives back together. But a government scheme meant to help homeowners has left two people in the dark in the wake of their heartbreak. Twin brothers David and Peter Abel lost their shared home of 68 years on the south coast, and they've been rebuilding it.
This is our place of residence. It has been for 1 year, 9 days. David's bunk, and that's mine on the left side.
Now, despite the duo's efforts, they've been rejected for the $25,000 HomeBuilder scheme. I think that was one of the pandemic stimulus packages. They were rejected because they're siblings. It looks like a case of bureaucracy gone mad. Either one of them could get this grant if they had the title in their own name. If they were a couple, a married couple, they would get it. But twins holding a shared title together is too much for the system to cope with. Let's catch up with the local federal Labor member for Gilmore, Fiona Phillips. Thanks for joining us, Fiona. Is that what's going on here? Simply that bureaucracy can't handle the idea that two brothers have the home in their own title?
Oh, it's absolutely not good enough. Look, Peter and David are one of the most deserving brothers, and they're just amazing. The community's behind them. They've lived together for 68 years, and the government has rejected their application for a $25,000 HomeBuilder grant. And look, they lost their home in the bushfires. They're living in a caravan. They are just two of the most genuine blokes that you would find. They are simply amazing. The government can easily fix this so that people like Peter and David can access that grant.
Now, to be fair, they are rebuilding and they are getting money from insurance and the like, but this would be an additional $25,000 that many other people have had access to, and the only thing stopping them is the fact that they are brothers sharing the title.
Yeah, look, and it's really hard for bushfire victims. In many cases, just like Peter and David, there's more stringent building criteria and standards that they have to meet. So for David and Peter, they had to get a really, really large underground water system that cost $25,000. It would have been nice for that grant to be able to help them. My view is if there's a $25,000 grant that people can use for their mansions, then that should be available to help people like Peter and David.
Yeah, well, good on you for fighting for them, because it just seems ridiculous. I mean, obviously other couples can get it and single people can get it. The fact that it's an unusual case where two brothers would share a title shouldn't be a problem at all. And I know you've been pushing that. Let's hope you get some response from the government.
Thank you.
Have you got anything to add there? Is there any development from the government on this?
Look, we haven't heard back. I've written to the Minister, and look, I'm still hopeful. I've been raising it every opportunity I can. My community is right behind Peter and David. They said, keep pushing for them. Look, the government, the Prime Minister can change this.
All right, well, good on you. Now, I wanted to ask you also about Craig Kelly, the Liberal MP, defecting from the government now. When you're in the chamber with the Speaker and the Chair, you've got equal numbers either side of the Parliament. How much does that change things from the Labor Party's point of view?
Well, look, I think, Craig Kelly has been out talking about Craig Kelly, and look, I'm definitely focused on people in my electorate like Peter and David. We have bushfire victims that still feel forgotten. It's really, really hard for people. We've got bushfires, we've had obviously drought, we've had 3 disaster-declared floods and now COVID. Unless the government gets serious about helping our bushfire victims, people will remember that.
Aren't you happy with the amount of attention that's come from state and federal governments when it comes to bushfire recovery and indeed COVID recovery?
Well, there's a lot of the bushfire fund money that has simply not been spent, and a lot of that money has not hit the ground, and they're the stories that I hear every day. And you've just got to look no further than the story of Peter and David for the absolute ridiculousness of that situation. And there's many instances where people have really, really struggled to apply for grants or to apply for help. We hear about these flashy announcements, but quite often that does not translate to assistance on the ground. So is there enough support? Absolutely not.
Thanks, Fiona. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
That's Fiona Phillips, who's the Labor MP for Gilmore. We'll follow this up with the government this should be fixed easily. If either one of these men owned the house on their own, they'd get the grant. If they were there with a partner, married or not, they'd get the grant. Because they're brothers who have spent their lives living together and share the title, they don't get it. Not good enough.